Alright, well, this is another episode of Companies That Suck. It's my special WWE edition. But before I get to anything, I got to give props out to my sponsors. They're not really my sponsors, but it's just a show I want everyone to watch. It's called Getting Doug with High on VPN, starring Doug Benson. At least I think it's called VPN. You can Google it or YouTube it or whatever. It's a pretty good show. It's just about people getting high all the time. It's pretty funny. I was going to make a show like that, but where I live, I'm afraid the cops will come to my house. Alright, but WWE, why it sucks, damn it. Because it's the worst wrestling ever. That's what WWE stands for. No. I think WWE's on right now. Yep, I'm not watching it. It's 7:33 on a Monday. Anyway, I hate how they control their in-ring wrestling styles and everything. Everyone has to do the same crap. I hate who's champion. I hate the storyline. I hate the McMahon family because they bought every other company that was better than they were. And plus, they, like, when Vince McMahon blew himself up in that limousine, that was the stressor for Chris Benoit killing his family and himself. It's a stressor. You ever seen that show Criminal Minds where they talk about like a guy that has a stressor? This guy was on steroids and all kinds of other shit, drank 8 bottles of beer and 2 bottles of wine, fucking taking steroids, and his kid had some sort of mental disability. No, it was a growth disability or something. I can't remember what it was. But then Vince McMahon goes ahead and blows himself up in a limousine. This is like 3 or 4 days before the Benoit massacre, as I refer to it as. And Vince McMahon has a big fake funeral, and all these people are fake crying, and it's like bigger than what they did for Eddie Guerrero. Well, I guess Chris Benoit's best friend from what I hear, but I'm not absolutely sure on that. And several days right after Vince McMahon faked his own death, 3, 4, 5 days later, the Benoit family was dead, and Vince McMahon came out in the ring. I'm sorry for the fake. They didn't even say I'm sorry. It's like, last Monday night, my character, Vince McMahon, who he really is Vince McMahon, so it's not even a character, comes out there. My character, Vince McMahon, the storyline was supposed to be that I had died in a tragic fiery limo explosion. But in reality, Chris Benoit, Nancy, and their son Daniel are dead. I was the stressor. He should have said that afterward, not even had the show about the... That's another thing. They had that entire show, that Monday Night Raw, was entirely Chris Benoit's history and everything. And now they deny that that ever happened, basically. That's my first biggest reason for hating WWE. My second biggest reason, which was my first biggest, was when they destroyed ECW and turned it into a second-rate NXT type show, when NXT right now is probably even better than the secondary ECW was after the original ECW. You couldn't repeat that shit. One Night Stand a couple of times, like Masato Tanaka versus Mike Awesome, that kind of repeated it, but they ruined the greatest wrestling company on earth in the history of all wrestling companies, which was ECW. Now Paul Heyman works for them. Paul Heyman's pissed me off. I'm no longer a fan of his. Rob Van Dam works for him, which, Rob, sorry about it, buddy, I hate the company you work for. I'll respect Rob Van Dam forever, no matter what company he works for. Same with Sabu, same with Taz, same with Tajiri, same with many wrestlers. This has nothing to do with the wrestlers at all. When I say worst wrestling ever, I'm not talking about the talent of the wrestlers. I'm not talking about their performance whatsoever. I'm talking about the shitty storylines they're given, and the rules and dress codes and even wellness policies that they're subject to. The wellness policy won't even let people smoke weed. I think as long as the wrestlers aren't on painkillers or steroids, you should be happy, Vince. They probably need some painkillers too. I mean, you're killing fucking wrestlers. Then you say, oh, well, the wellness program, that'll make it all better. For sure. They're just going to get around it and use other stuff that you're not trying to detect. Meth and cocaine, because your body expels it so quick because it hates it, only stays in your system for 3 days. How is your wellness program going to combat that unless you're testing your superstars every 2 days? And I'm completely against both of those drugs, but I defend people's right to use them because I think I don't care what other people are doing. I do what I do, and I don't want you being around me or anything else. But I know things about stuff, and I'm going to tell it to you. Drug tests are meaningless unless it's a hair test. It might still be some residuals up in the hair. I'm not positive on that. I'm not a fucking scientist. But WWE sucks, including their wellness program, including the Attitude Era, including the Ruthless Aggression Era, including the 1980s era where Hulk Hogan body slammed Andre the Giant. That's not that impressive. I've seen some things, man, and some stuff. Wasn't in war, but I've seen CZW, I've seen XPW, I've seen FMW, and I've seen ECW. Some of those companies go too far, granted. I don't want to see a man with a chunk of flesh hanging off the side of his neck and blood squirting out like in CZW. Kind of upsets my stomach. But WWE, just watch something else. What these guys are doing is just terrible. No offense to the talent, I'm sure they could do better if they tried, but the WWE management won't let them. WWE, you suck. Worst wrestling ever is what it stands for, and Raw stands for retarded ass wipes. Goodbye.